we'll jump into our first review of the day. We're gonna be going over Gran Turismo, from gamer to racist, the ultimate wish fulfillment tale.
Wait.
Didn't you see that meme going on around Twitter?
No, wait, I
Yeah.
didn't see that.
There's like
the picture
there's an
where they
alternate
look
poster that
weird,
says from
man.
gamer to
Oh,
racist.
So good.
Yeah, that alternate poster is so
I
good.
thought you like misspoke. I didn't see that. Can I find that on Letterboxd?
I think it actually might be. But from gamer to racer, the ultimate wish fulfillment tale of a teenage Gran Turismo player whose gaming skills won him a series of Nissan competitions to become or in the words of Orlando Bloom, a series of Nissan competitions to become an actual professional race car driver. So yeah, Neil Blomkamp came out actually, I don't even know what the release date of this is at this point. I don't think it's technically come out, but they're like showing it in every city like sometimes, but I think the official date is in like 10 days or something, but it's a weird way that they're trying to roll this movie out. But yeah, let's jump into our review. I think this is one all four of us have seen this one. We're going to start it over with Sammy. What were your thoughts on Gran Turismo and what did you rate it?
Yeah, I was honestly really surprised. Off the bat, I gave it 3.5 stars. I was really, really surprised at how much I actually enjoyed it. I really thought it was going to be one of those video game movies that we're all just like, what the hell am I watching, right? But it ended up being a really nice, underdog story that you can't help but root for this kid who actually became from gamer to racer. So it was actually insane. Did you guys know that this is based on a true story?
It's been memed at this point that it's like a true story. But the thing is, like when I very first saw the trailer, I was like, "Oh shit, this is a true story." Like I had no idea, and then obviously it was ran into the ground. But like someone going from I thought Gran Turismo was going to be another just like video like Need for Speed adaptation, but then they're like, "Oh, this real dude actually became a racer." I was like, "Shit, okay."
Yeah, exactly. I love that angle that they took with it. That it was, they kind of got lucky that this story was true and they could build their movie off of that. But so I'm just glad that I don't have to watch that trailer in the theater anymore, because if I had to hear David Harbour say, "You threw up on my lawn one more time," I was gonna lose it.
Dude, I've raced this track before. Like I was like, no, stop, please. I understand.
So we're just going with no spoilers in this one. So I'll just keep it brief in my next one. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was heartwarming. Neil Blomkamp's direction was pretty good. Some might say he's back. I'd like to say that he never left, because I actually kind of like Chappie. Don't let anyone. I mean, it's kind of out there now, so oh well. But no, yeah, I really thought it was a really heartfelt film. There actually is some emotional core that I was surprised with, even though his dad was kind of like a dick for no reason. But I feel like we all had that dad before or know someone like that. So I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, man, that's pretty much all I got off the top of my head.
Alex, what are your thoughts on Gran Turismo?
It's a bit of peak Blomkamp, emphasis on the camp. I'm not the biggest fan. I think after District 9, he kind of like fell off a cliff. I haven't seen Elysium, but Chappie really ruined my theater love. But as far as the film, I don't think we've gotten a bad racing movie, to be honest. I think they're all pretty solid. Speed Racer. But as far as like the true story aspect, I thought I was actually pretty interested. The first half, I think, is pretty just generic underdog story, very biopic. Like you've seen it before 50 million times. You're not really compelled. The video game aspect is pretty cool. But then once we get into like he's a full-on racer, we're getting into training stuff. Like the second half, I was locked in. I was shocked. I saw this movie in early July with George at Alamo Drafthouse. And I was fully expecting nothing. I was like, I didn't even want to see this, but I left fully just entertained. There was like you said, there was a good emotional core, especially with his family and him overcoming it's an underdog story. The overcoming the odds part definitely hits. I like the ending. There were some shocking moments that I didn't know were true. If you've seen the movie with a certain accident that might've been shown in the trailers, I didn't know that was real. That was pretty interesting. David Harbour, he actually was good. I mean, some of his roles have been very suspect, especially in movies lately, but I thought he was good. I thought he added a lot. Orlando Bloom was just there. If you're expecting a lot of Orlando Bloom as a fan, you're gonna be probably a little disappointed. He was just there.
That man.
Yeah, from Pirates. Yeah, two of the biggest franchises ever.
Legolas in a suit, baby.
Oh yeah, even God.
Yeah, but he was all right. And then there was some cool shots. I thought any of the the visual effects of them transitioning from him in a video game to him racing the real track, I thought was pretty neat. All the racing scenes are very intense and well shot. But yeah, I thought it was a very big surprise. I was not expecting much, especially with the trailers. Like Sammy said, wow, some of the worst things ever. I don't know why they kept they kept putting it after like it was before Dune every time, and I was like, please stop playing this thing. You're not making it any better. But yeah, based off of a true story, never forget that. And I enjoyed my time. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Solid. I definitely would recommend 100%.
Only a 3? I thought you had a 5.
It was definitely between 3 or 5. It was close. But I think I edged out to the 3 just based off of the fact that it's based off a true story.
I really did think it was I thought you had it at 4.
Cam, I think you're the most recent to have seen it. What's your thoughts on Gran
Yeah,
Turismo?
I saw it yesterday. Oh, it's fine. I wanted to like it more because I did see that. Like, I also did see, like Alex, and I think Sammy may have said this, and I think George said this. Like everyone said the first hour isn't their favorite part, and then it really picks up for the last hour. And I completely agree with that. But I just really didn't care for the first hour, and it's a lot due to. And we were talking about this before we got on the pod. I'm not a racing guy. I'm not a fan of racing movies other than like Ford v Ferrari and Rush we talked about. I really like those, and we just did a review on Speed Racer. I just don't care about car racing or any type of racing in general, to be honest with you. I don't know why. It doesn't hold my interest all that much. So you're already starting off on like a low for myself, unfortunately. Also, the fact that this is a true story is just kind of crazy. Good for him. But I just, it's so stupid. It's going from gaming to race driving. Good for you. But the fact, was it an actual competition or did he just start?
Yeah.
So it was like legit.
It's still a thing. I'm pretty sure they have like a full academy still for like Gran Turismo players.
Does anyone remember the name of the racer, the real life racer? Because I heard he did some of the stunts.
Yeah, it was Gran, first name, last name.
Martinborough, I think. I think it's Jan.
Oh yeah, Edinburgh. Yeah, he did some of the stunts in the movie. I saw. Like,
yeah, he did all the driving.
That's really cool.
I'm glad they gave him that shout out at the end. Like it was a kind of like a postcard thing to be like, here's the real, like, the classic biopic is like, here's the real guy. And then like, he did all the stunts. Cause I feel like that's something like, you got to give him credit for that. Like, you don't, like, I get being humble sometimes, but it's kind of nice that they were like, by the way, like all the driving in this movie was actually him. Like, that's a cool touch.
So now my next question is for someone who didn't do any research into this. If they do this every year, why was this movie about him? Was he the first one or is he the best or like
the best?
He's the best. So he's like actually made it from where like everyone else has kind of fallen off, but he's actually made it is kind of like the idea. Okay.
Yeah, like the Le Mans race, which is the end of Gran Turismo, which is the race that Ford versus Ferrari is about. That's like a massive international race, and the fact that he was able to do so well in it, like that's a crazy feat that no one else has done. And he might have been the first, I think, to actually do it as well.
Tyler, spoilers, man. Maybe he didn't do all that well. You can't be spoiling.
It's Oppenheimer all over again. It's history.
Oh my lord, the spoilers.
There are no spoilers.
But I like David Harbour. Was it Alex who said he's been in some questionable things? What's been questionable? I like David Harbour in
like
this.
what has he been in the past like 5 years?
Violent Night. He was kind of goated.
That's his niche. Just Santa Claus movies. That's his niche right now.
I think you just have Suicide Squad on the brain. That's the issue.
That's I recently watched Suicide Squad 2016, and I was shocked to know that he was a government agent. And I was like, what are you doing in this movie?
Yeah,
I was like, I was heartbroken. But yeah, he's great. He's actually so great. I thought he did really well in this movie. So I'm glad that we're David Harbour supremacy over here.
Cam, you gave it a 3.
Yeah, sorry, like a 63 out of 100. I exactly like you guys said. First hour, I just didn't care, and then the last hour was real gripping when they actually started getting into racing, and I thought it was a lot cooler. But now my dog's trying to pull off the cords of my.
Yeah, for me, I gave it a 3.5 star, 6.6 out of 10. I had a good time with this. I'll echo what everyone's kind of been saying in the beginning. Like 45 minutes they're just kind of boring. They're very generic, very boring. But once it gets into like the training academy and actual racing, it gets pretty exciting. We mentioned it. David Harbour, I think, is great in this. This is one of those, like, before I even saw it, obviously heard a lot of people hyping up his performance, saying he steals every scene. And I think he did live up to the hype. I thought he was truly great and everything. Orlando Bloom, like Alex said, he was just there. Like, he didn't really do much. But I do really, like, he has such a posh accent and he dressed so nice in this. Like, I want to see more just like him being like a wealthy dude, like in movies. I think that's his niche right now in life. But yeah, this movie, it was hammered into the ground that is based on a true story, and it's like a meme at this point. But like, it truly is one that, like, when I first saw it, I was like, "How is this a true story?" Like, I don't even like, I can't even believe that this is an actual thing. Like, who in a boardroom thought of like taking a video game racer and like making them an actual racer? That because this is not like baseball. Like, I don't know. There's like something that could genuinely kill someone, and like taking someone who's literally like barely driven anything fast and just putting them in some of the fastest, most horsepower machines that have been created on this earth. See, like, I don't know. That just I'd imagine Nissan's liability department, legal department had a field day with whoever suggested this one. They had the longest waivers ever.
You could probably make like a whole Air BlackBerry movie on that whole decision-making process, and I would be down to watch it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
No, so you're telling me that if we take this kid from gamer to racer, we blow up the earth. It'd just be Matt Damon.
And we strap him to like 1,000-mile-an-hour rocket.
We have a chance of blowing up the earth.
Drop some
Also,
Oppenheimer
Jaimin
quotes.
Hunso's in this movie.
Who is it?
Like, I forgot, like, Jaimin Hunso, who's like he's in like everything.
I was gonna say that. Y'all said David Dash Malton's in everything. Shout out to Jaimin Hunson.
He needs more.
He's in everything. He's in Marvel, DC, Star Wars.
If you've seen Blood Diamond, he needs more lead roles. Like he's so
awesome.
So
he's
talented.
in Fast and Furious. He's in I think he's in Mission Impossible, if I'm not mistaken. He's in the Quiet Place.
He's in the multiverse and everything.
He is so good.
Him and David Dastmalchian just need a buddy cop movie.
Don't forget Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
He's in Invincible. He's in
Shazam! Oh my
Shazam!
goodness,
Fury of the Gods.
Yeah, and Aquaman. He's the fish king in Aquaman.
How to Train Your Dragon 2. What a filmography.
Yeah, How to Train Your Dragon 2.
The Kingsman franchise.
The
Kingsman franchise. He's in every franchise.
Oh my God.
Like when you mentioned his father, I was like, holy shit! Like, who is that I'm thinking of? And it's like, really, I was like, this guy is in literally everything.
Yeah, bro. He's in Captain Marvel. He's in every franchise, man. He is the GOAT.
As he should be.
So I'll break the spoiler wall right now. So we'll jump into some spoiler talk on Gran Turismo. So the big thing, obviously, that I didn't know going into it was the crash that was alluded to. You see it in the trailer. Immediately when I after getting out of the movie, I wanted to watch the actual scene of it in real life because I guess I'm a little sadistic, but it's mirrored like 100%. So if you like watch Gran Turismo and you're like, oh, like a car can't really like take off like that and fly. Like, no, like the movie looks exactly like it did in real life, where it just literally just like took off into the air. It flew over a fence, killed one spectator, injured a bunch of others. But yeah, it's just, and before I saw the movie, I saw someone in a negative review saying like they didn't like how the movie handled that. But I was like surprised. I thought they handled it fine. Like I thought when they said that at first, I thought when the crash happened in the movie, I was like, oh, are they just not going to mention that it like killed a spectator? But they mentioned that and like they went into that pretty detailed. So I thought they did a fine job with talking about the real life thing. I think maybe people get rubbed the wrong way when people use other people's tragedy to be like the fueling thing behind him of him like now like, oh, like I'm going to become like the best ever because of this tragedy. And when they didn't really like mention who died or whatever, but I don't know. It's a dangerous sport for the racers as well as the spectators. And I think people kind of, know there's a level of risk going into it. So it is very tragic for sure, but I think they handled it decently in the movie. But yeah, that crash was insane. Like I saw the real footage, just wild. Like it's wild that he was able to walk away from that with like not that crazy of injuries. Cause yeah, you can watch the real thing. It's on YouTube and it's just wild that a car can just like take off in the air and just combust like that basically.
Fucked.
That's crazy.
I didn't know that was like, I left the theater and I was like, is this like a real thing they put in? Like, obviously it's based off a true story. So I was like, why would they fake this?
It's one of those where you think it's added for the movie. Cause sometimes like true stories aren't that intense, so they have to add a little bit of fluff, but like, no, that's like fucked.
Listen, like, I don't know if it's the right way to say this, but like, I guess kind of props for him to adding that, like, and like acknowledging that mistake, like that big moment, like, and like giving, like just attention to it. So I give him props.
I think I read somewhere that he wouldn't sign off on the movie unless they did something like that or something along those lines where he was like, he really emphasized that he wanted that to be addressed in the movie.
And by he, are you talking about the real guy?
Jan. Yeah. And I did see that criticism that, they of course people want to criticize everything, but it was used as character motivation. And now the real question is, did David Harbour's person in real life actually kill someone too? That was probably added for fluff. I don't know because
I don't know. Yeah, is he based off a real person? I imagine, but like
I would imagine, but that was like the one heart to heart that they had, where it was like
because it was the same. Was it the same race or was it a different race? I forget.
It was
was a different
after
race.
the whole hospital scene and everything.
No, but I'm saying, was it the same race that like David Harbour's character killed someone in?
No, it wasn't.
No,
that was
just
on
a different track,
Yeah,
different track.
different track.
because you kind of learn he's like this old gruffy 50s.
Yeah, no, I
Basically-
know. I didn't know if it was the same track, is what I meant.
Yeah. No.
the grizzled veteran mentor.
He's
our
essentially
mentor.
at the start of
I wonder
Street
if that
in
was
50s.
true, and also I wonder if every true story always has an old grizzled veteran, because I've never met an old
That makes a
grizzled
mistake,
veteran.
and then they has to
Yeah.
rectify. He lives through like his.
I've
his
never met one of those
protege.
people in my life ever, like who used to be great, but like their knee broke at 32, so they
Oh, I
couldn't
know
really
all
do
those
anything.
guys, bro.
Could have made the league. Could have
Oh,
made.
yeah,
the
that's
could have.
hard, baby.
I'm
could've
gonna
been
be that
one.
guy in the future. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I could have made the league. I just,
Yeah.
I had a lot of
Turf toe,
cramps.
turf toe got me. One of my biggest problems with this movie is I didn't like none of the characters really stood out to me, and it was most prominent when I was watching the movie, and so kind of we're in spoilers, so it doesn't matter. But Jan loses by like 0.01 seconds, right? Like he loses that race when Orlando Bloom is trying to convince David Harbour's character to take Jan instead of the other guy. The problem was I didn't know either of their names. When they were talking about like who won and who lost, I was like, man, I am not invested to this. I don't remember either of their names right now. So I didn't know who won at first and who lost and who they were trying to convince. And so that was one problem for me. I'm like, yeah, I don't think I was really encapsulated in these characters by any means, but maybe that's just on me.
To kind of add on to that, like there was this whole, I have a bunch of notes that I wrote down for it.
I
Funny
love
enough,
that.
one of the first things I wrote was like, this is like when Ben Affleck was criticizing Armageddon for the drillers. Like, let's teach drillers how to be astronauts.
Yeah.
Have astronauts instead of astronauts being drillers. I don't know why I wrote that down. I thought that was funny. But there's like
Amazing movie, by the way. Amazing movie, by the way.
great
Michael
movie.
Bay, right?
I don't want to close my eyes. Great song. Anyway,
Also-
but there was like this undertone. I mean, not really undertone. It was pretty much thrown in your face that I thought they were going to hone on more. And it was like this whole conversation about social status and like where you come from compared to, you know, who you're competing against. Like you saw all the rich douchebag racers out there were kind of like, that's kind of what got David Harbour's character to be like, all right, I'm in. Let's do this freaking, contest or whatever it is.
I wonder how
I
that
feel
guy
you kinda
feels
talked about
now.
it. What was that?
I wonder how the real life racer feels now. He got fucked by 0.0 or like he won, but now he's like, he's just going to see a movie and he's like, man, I remember this. I really thought I won. Like if he didn't know,
Oh,
he
his
just
teammate that he was with.
the guy he lost to, or the guy who Jan lost to by 0.1 seconds and should have been like taken into the academy or taken into wherever he went. I wonder if that guy's watching this movie and he's just like, well, holy fuck, I won that race. They screwed me. I
actually
should
the
be
opposite.
there right now.
It's actually the opposite, Cam. So Jan
Oh,
won.
really?
That's why it was an interesting conversation because it was like they wanted
I
the
told
more
you, I
They
forgot
wanted
that
the more
part.
qualified guy. They wanted to pick
Okay.
him, but they
the
went
guy
with
that would
Jan.
sell better.
They advocated for
my
it.
bad. I thought Jan was. See, that's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah.
I didn't get this entire conversation. I forgot every name. Okay, now I'm caught up. Thank you. Still,
But
a
yeah, no.
first
In the
car.
end,
I'm
doesn't
not
he
giving
become like
any
it comes full circle and he helps him in the end for Lamont?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
yeah.
what it
So
is. Okay.
yeah.
okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I was waiting. I was in my head, I was just like, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile.
Yeah,
A
fine.
win is a win.
A win
Bam.
is a win.
A win is a win.
By 1 or 100.
I've seen two movies now that have featured the Le Mans races, Ford versus Ferrari, which internationally is called Le Mans 66, and now Gran Turismo. And it's like one of the most iconic international races. It takes place over 24 hours. But both movies that I've seen now have had torrential downpours that make it a really dangerous race. So I've only seen two, but both of them have had like very dangerous raining conditions. Like maybe choose a different season or a different location.
Pick a different day to do this.
Because it seems
race.
like every Le Mans I ever
somehow.
see in movies is like, oh, it's raining so bad that one of us might die tonight. It's like maybe just go to like a desert or something and do the race
Yeah,
there
like I don't
instead.
understand. It's
Send it.
downpouring in these small cars that like are going like 90 million miles per hour. I'm like,
and they're
why are
like,
you
yeah,
racing
keep
right
it
now?
going. Keep
And
it
I'm like,
going.
also, this thing was 24 hours. I don't know racing. So I was like, are you serious? Like 24 hours racing? Like they're sleeping in chairs. Like, I'm like, there's just no way you're like,
brother,
like,
man,
this is
they're
what you
just
wanna do.
locked. It's the Celsius. It's Sammy knows.
So you're trying to get this.
I'm gonna go grab
sponsorship
one right
now.
now. I need one.
You need to get the can and put like the Celsius right here.
I just gotta cover it.
Right
'Cause we need that sponsorship first.
Yeah, we do. Got to cover it.
Well,
But that's what they're fucking doing, just driving the whole time.
This might
Also, I can. Oh wait, what were you gonna say?
go ahead, go ahead. I just wanted to give a shout out to Kenny G because I love my saxophone brother. So if you guys don't like Kenny G, listen to Kenny G.
was that scene where he's listening to Kenny G and he's like, "Can
That
you
was
turn this
good, man.
down?" And
Don't
then he
lie and
turned it
say
up.
that wasn't
Okay.
good, man. That
I was
was
like,
good.
I was
Nah,
like,
it was
is
good, it
that
was good.
giving him a shout out right now?
Also, one other gripe, not really a gripe, but like it was just like they had a whole romance subplot thing that was just like the leastly fleshed out thing ever. Like, and he was DMing her on Instagram. I
Is
was
that
like,
part real? Like, because
I mean,
it's
it was
just
a
so
side piece,
tropey.
I guess. I don't know.
It's so tropey where
They had
it's
to have
just
like you have. It's like they picked a lot of this
Dude.
is very cliche standard stuff, especially with like the antagonists of like the rich kid that he's racing. It's down to like it's the most cliche thing ever. But yeah, the romance part, I was like, did this really need to be in here? I was like, what? Is it this? Maybe this is so real that he had to put it in. But I was like, if you're not married to this girl, why are you putting or dating her? Why is this in here?
I was like, this is bordering on Tokyo Drift levels for the first 45 minutes. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was like Tokyo Drift,
flashbacks to that horrible.
and then it just like
Ooh,
completely
Tokyo
shifted, and I was like, yes.
One
I hate
one moment that happens that is similar to like what happens in both Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick is the classic like the hotshot Tom Cruise like in the original Top Gun comes in and the rest of the people like hate him and are hazing him and like fighting him and bullying him, and it's like in your mind you're like yelling at the TV, you're literally like fighting for your lives together, like you should be friends. But in this movie I'm like the opposite, where when the people came in they were bullying him because like they're like, you're just a gamer, you don't belong here, like it's dangerous for you on the track. Like I think they should have bullied him more, honestly. Like I feel like I would be even more mad than they were. I'd be like, literally I've been doing this my whole life, get the hell away from this track. Like I would not have wanted. Like it's like if you're playing, I don't know, if you're just doing anything dangerous, you don't want some inexperienced dude coming in when you're like classically trained to do it and like give you the chance of like you getting in a crash. Like I would have been more of a bully than they were.
What if we just start like doing this as driver's tests? Like you don't actually put them on the road, but you got to pass the Le Mans 66, like, on Gran Turismo. You have to.
I was thinking about that though. Like really, I was like, if I was one of these guys, right, and a gamer, like say like for example, I was a basketball player and an NBA 2K player got the chance to play pro basketball with me. Yeah. I would be livid. Like I grinded for this, whether or not it was, and I just see this gamer dweeb. I'd be a little. That's just the inner hater in me, though. I'm gonna be honest with you.
We played COD last night. Put us overseas. Alex and I just go.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah, just throw us.
Let's get a Tekken tournament going. All the best Tekken fighters and actually just have them fight to the death in person. That'd be great.
Wait, is Tekken like the Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, Mortal Kombat's a little more. They're both kind of spiritual. Whatever.
I've heard people like. I've never like played Tekken, so I was like, that's a.
I'm a fossil, so that's like.
Yeah, I was like Tekken.
PS1, baby.
I'm like Tekken. That's kind of
fucking gray, the fucking gray machine. The old PS1
blew up on me.
Incredible. I love the PS1.
There's actually like 3 moments in this movie that had me thinking of other movies, like the whole training with David Harbour. I was like, this is Mulan, make a man out of you. Like I was just waiting for them to say, I'm gonna make a man out of you. And then we had that douchebag racer who swept the leg in the car race or tried to sweep the leg.
Oh my God.
How is he alive? How the fuck is that guy alive?
Yeah, people like sabotaging, but in this sport, when you sabotage, you may kill someone.
It was insane.
I'm like, that's attempted. That's almost.
I'm gonna cut his brakes. It's gonna be sick. He's totally gonna run his car into a wall. It's gonna be.
And the fact that he knew that, he knew the brakes was because of like he played the game. Like I need to know if that was real too. He's like, they put my brakes.
Yeah. That seemed a little far fetched to me. That like based on the feeling of the game that he was able to feel that, but.
Yeah.
These gamers.
That was fluff. That had to have been fluff.
Yeah, but go ahead. Last
movie was Never Back Down, just because Jaimon Hansu's in that. So I was like, oh, it's very similar vibes. The whole underdog story to it's just great, man.
Yeah, I have to check that out.
It's it's one from my childhood that I would say I like, and then you revisit it and you're like, oh,
not that great. Yeah,
that's not it.
That's not
it.
Yeah, so Gran Turismo, Cam gives it a 3, Alex gives it a 3, Sammy gives it a 3.5, I give it a 3.5 as well, 63 out of 100. There you go, Cam, 6.6 out of 10 for me. So yeah, we've all been officially rizzed up. There's our review.